Greetings viewers, Hugh here coming to you from Gatwick Airport's South Terminal. Now Gatwick Airport is well known for having an automated people mover shuttle system that runs between here, the South Terminal where the train station is, and the North Terminal that has operated ever since the North Terminal opened in 1987. However, that was not the original shuttle system at Gatwick Airport. In fact, Gatwick Airport did have a shuttle system built in 1983, and it was located right here at the South Terminal, and it was in fact the first automated people mover system in the UK, but it's not here. What happened to it? Well, that's what this video is all about. This is the story of Britain's first automated people mover system that is now gone. I was recently reminded of this back in July, when I flew back into Gatwick's South Terminal on a late nighttime flight, and my plane parked just beyond a circular part of the terminal, and for some reason, even though we were very close to it, we had to deplane by air stairs. While we were walking through towards passport control, I spotted a small plaque commemorating this part of the terminal opening in 1983, and it reminded me of a thing that I had discovered a few years ago about an abandoned people mover system at this part of the terminal, and how I'd always wanted to do a video on this YouTube channel about it, and thus, here we are. In case you're unfamiliar with the layout of London's Gatwick Airport, it consists of two main passenger terminals. The South Terminal, which has existed since 1958 and is connected with the airport's main railway station, and the North Terminal, opened in 1987. But for the most part, in this video, we're going to focus on the South Terminal, as it is where the subject of this video was located. In the early 1980s, London Gatwick was the second busiest airfield in Britain, with it serving as the second airport serving London, with it being mostly served by airlines that could not afford landing slots at the busier Heathrow Airport. At the time, Gatwick had only one passenger terminal, and it needed extra capacity. It was therefore decided to construct a satellite building, with extra departure gates further away from the terminal that would be reminiscent of the iconic Beehive terminal located just south of the airfield. To connect this new satellite to the rest of the terminal, it was decided to construct an automated people mover railway system, utilising AdTrans C100 trains that were a very common type for many airport transit systems, formed of a single carriage with the two trains shuttling between the terminal and satellite at any one time. Opening in April 1983, it was the first system of its kind in the UK, predating Birmingham Airport's iconic maglev system by a year. However, it wasn't the first automated people mover at an airport, with that honour going to Tampa, Florida, whose system opened in 1971. The same year that the satellite opened, construction began on a second passenger terminal, which would become the North Terminal. It was decided that a slightly longer and higher capacity version of the people mover system would be used to link the new terminal with the existing South Terminal and railway station, with this second system opening with the North Terminal in 1987. It used a very similar system to the original and utilised the same AdTrans C100 trains, but this time in 3-unit formation. Leaving the history aside for a minute, finding footage of these systems around this time, especially of the South Terminal one, is incredibly difficult, but there are a few clips online, mainly by news agencies that demand license fees if you want to use them, and obviously I'm not going to pay those, so I can't play them to you. But 90s footage extraordinaire City Transport Info does have a fantastic video showing many home videos he's shot of both systems, and you're seeing some clips from that video right now. The full video is linked in the description. So, what happened to this original South Terminal system? Well, one of its main drawbacks was that the trains were only 1 car long, which must have caused severe problems with passenger flow between the terminal and the satellite, especially with the size of the planes using the terminal at the time. The system also apparently didn't allow for full segregation between arriving and departing passengers, which is very much needed in most international airports in the UK. So, sometime between 2003 and 2005, the original system was decommissioned and replaced by a bi-level moving walkway allowing for full arrival and departure segregation. However, even 20 years later, there are still remnants of this original system if you know where to look. Most of the original alignment still remains in place, with the exception of a small section removed to create an access road for airport vehicles. Both stations on either side remain in place and are clearly visible from Google Earth. However, the satellite side has been modified to incorporate the moving walkway. Although, when you enter the terminal, you will still walk along the original platform, and if you turn around, you can very clearly see where the tracks used to end, which is pretty cool. And if you're not planning on flying out of Gatwick South Terminal anytime soon, Google Maps Street View allows you to do this as well. Other than that, the main legacy of this original system lived on in the form of the AdTrans C100 trains that were still operated on the interterminal shuttle until 2009, when they were replaced by more modern but very similar Bombardier CX100s. However, you can still ride on the older style train if you're flying out of London's Stansted Airport, as its transit system, opened in 1991, uses almost identical transit trains to the ones that were formerly used at Gatwick, also running in one-car formation. However, if you want to try them out, you better do so quickly, as the system is planned to be closed down sometime in the winter of 2026, and in a similar vein to Gatwick, it is planned to be replaced with a system of moving walkways, presumably for the exact same reasons as Gatwick. So today, the legacy of this rather forgotten system lives on, not only in the form of those trains still running at Stansted, but also in its longer, younger brother that runs between the two terminals. Even if the trains are slightly different, it still works on very similar technology, and it also exists in the other quirky little airport shuttle systems seen in Britain, at Heathrow, Stansted, Luton, and Birmingham. So, if you're ever flying out of London Gatwick South Terminal, and your departure gate is listed between 31 and 38, just know that 30 years ago, instead of walking along a boring and long moving walkway, you would have been able to take a ride on the first ever automated people mover system in Britain. So to end the video, I'm standing here at Gatwick Airport Station with the shuttle station right behind me, and well, that is it. That is the story of Britain's very first automated people mover system and how, unfortunately, it's no longer in operation. So, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and I'll see you soon. And for me, well, I've got to get what will probably be a rather crowded southern train back into London. Anyway, thank you for watching, everybody, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye! So, as the names of our lovely supporters are shown on screen, I'd just like to mention that a lot of the footage of the Gatwick People Mover system shown in this video was very kindly filmed by Daniel, who also flew out of Gatwick this past summer, but instead out of the North Terminal, so he was able to get some nice footage for me as well. And well, he insisted that I include this clip of him at the end, so here you are.
To all viewers of Hugh's video, you better have appreciated my B-roll because I got up at 3 AM for this. This is too early. I want to go back to bed.